It's been a while. It's been like, what, 3 months since I have posted? Eee. We're testing out a new format. I have no idea if I like it, but I really want to post this video. I really don't want to have to re-record things, so let's just hope this is a cute background. As I've mentioned, this channel is not my priority, and the reason why I feel like I need to be like constantly saying like this channel is not a priority is because usually I treat everything in my life as if it's a priority, and that is what has led me into very bad working habits. It's because I literally cannot choose between some things and others, and this channel right now is just a hobby. It's my second channel, and I just, when something has to go, this is one of the things that I push. And the past months have been crazy work-wise. I launched a product and there's a bunch of stuff going on. You probably already know that because you probably follow me from my fashion YouTube. Anyways, I really felt like chatting today and I have the time to do so. And I think one of the biggest obstacles of me filming for this channel is the fact that I was using my big camera that does this really beautiful blurry effect in the background, but that just takes quite some time to set up, and I haven't really figured out in this new house that I moved into where I like to be. And so we're filming with my DJI today. Very cozy. I'm very excited. I'm trying to move out from scripting for this channel because it's another thing that takes a lot of time. But I do have a little script and notes for this video because it's a topic I'm so passionate about. And so if you see me looking here, it's because I have notes. But I'm not trying to pretend like I don't have the notes. They're here. They're making this video more valuable. So if I look there, it's because, I have notes. So I run a YouTube channel that is not this one, and that I take very seriously. I have multiple freelance clients. I'm taking an online bachelor degree. And then I also have, normal house chores and family time and friends time. Time just never feels enough. And that is something that gave me, still gives, but now less, so much anxiety. And I read a book last year that one of my clients recommended that really helped me. And it really made my days easier and more joyful. So I want to touch on the things that I've learned with that book. Starting with the fact that I realized one of the most scary truths in life that I think is what we're all trying to run away from, and that's why we're constantly, especially for the workaholics, trying to do everything, is there's so many options, paths we can take, things we can do, and we will never be able to do everything. And when I read that phrase, I was scared and anxious and like, oh my God, that is so true. But that also gave me comfort because I realized, okay, no matter how much I run away like a freaking cockroach trying to get everything done, there's always going to be more that I could be doing. And that was the mindset I had. Like, if I finished work earlier, I would reward myself with getting ahead on other work. If I saved money on something, I would reward myself with then wanting to save more because, like, it's a start and let's just build up on that. But actually, I want to do the opposite. If I cannot do everything in this life, if I have to choose, then that means that if I let it, I will never rest because there will always be more things to do, more projects to take on. That really makes it evident why it is so important to block time for rest and to value rest, because like there's not going to be a point where you're like, okay, my to-do list is done, I can just take a break. Because if I wanted to be taking breaks, if I was a type of person that felt fine and naturally took breaks, I would be taking them already. I'm the type of person that likes to try a bunch of things out and work super hard, but the key to being able to work hard long term is to work hard but not work unhealthily hard to the point where your life was just about work. And that is what my life was about 2 years ago. Last year is when I started to make the change. The author talks about how in a world with a microwave and washing machines, we should all have more time, right? In a world with so much technology that has come to substitute things we used to take a lot of time doing, we should have more free time, but we don't, and we'll never will, because those technologies make certain parts of our life easier, but then we always compensate by doing other things. And at the same time, our attention span is decreasing, and it's way harder to wait 2 minutes for a freaking microwave to heat our meals than to wait 2 hours for the oven to heat like a big meal. I have this very not good productivity voice in my head. And the way that I started being able to tell myself that it is okay to rest, because even when I would rest, I would feel so guilty that I might as well be working because I wasn't actually resting, is that rest is actually productive. I used to think that we were like machines or that I had control over things, and now I realize I don't have. I don't have control over if I feel tired, over if I feel dismotivated, over if I stop liking what I do. And the point of me working so hard is because I love what I do, right? So if working super hard is going to make me start hating my job, maybe that is not the right thing to do. And at the same time, I've realized now that I rest that I am so much more efficient. My brain flows so much better. I'm so much more creative when I actually have hours in the day where I'm not working, because then I have something to look forward to. I have a pause. My brain gets to breathe. In the content creation world, and I don't do content creation full time, but it is a big part of my job, especially because my other job involves editing for content creators. Since the majority of content creators, I feel like, started working super young because they started their channels as a hobby and whatever, there's not really a structure. When you watch a TV series, there's a structure, there's a season, and when that season ends, the actors go on break and then they come back and they film another season, but they know that it's going to be like a 10 episode season or a 20 episode season. It's not like, okay, now we're going to record episodes until we don't know when. And that is what YouTubers do. That is what I do. I'm like, okay, I started in 7th grade 8 years ago, and I'm just going to try to do it every week, and if I fail a week, I'm going to feel guilty that I failed a week, and I'm going to try to overcompensate. No, why don't we just take a similar approach and look at life and look at work as seasons? That is such a cool perspective. And I was recently listening to a podcast by Valeria Lipovetsky. I love her podcasts. And she was talking about how she hates the word balance nowadays because it just frustrates her, because she was talking about how there's never really a balance. It's just being aware of what your priorities are, and then like the awareness kind of fix things themselves. Because she was saying how her kids are obviously her priority in life, but she also loves her job. And there was this week recently where she just had a lot of work, and she kind of had to prioritize work over the family during that week because there was a lot of things happening. And so on Monday, she sat down on the table with her kids having breakfast or whatever, I don't remember, and was like, I love you all. I just wanted to say that this week's going to be super hectic for me. So if I'm more out of the calendar, if I'm more distant, if, I miss something, I just want to say that it's because this week's going to be very crazy and I'm going to have to prioritize work. But, I'm here. Next week is going to go back to normal. It's okay. I just wanted to let you know. I'm always trying to have the best system to organize my life. Like on Mondays, I work on this, and on Tuesdays, I work on that. This whole concept of like dividing your life into time constraints and not looking at it as a one big flow of things is so helpful. The book also talks about how in Mexico, the happiness index is actually higher than in the US. But in the US, people grind more and have more money and have cooler jobs and, the American dream, but actually the happiness index is lower than in Mexico. I think it's very liberating to sit down with ourselves and understand, it's not accept because we don't have to accept it, it's just true. Understand that we are limited, that our time is limited and that our energy is limited. Because I used to think that if I worked from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., for weeks on weeks, that, I could do it. Like it was just a choice to work more hours or to rest a couple hours per day. But actually now I understand that it's not really a choice, because when I work later hours, those hours are not as efficient and productive as like the first hours of the day. Like I cannot control how focused my brain is, how creative my brain is. And so we really do have limited capacities, and we just have to learn how to better use them. And trying to push hard for a year or 5 years is not worth than having a lot of time where you feel burnt out and where the joy of doing what you did just isn't there anymore. And it's so interesting that we all in the self-development world talk about, these self-help tools, these life tools, almost as if life itself is broken and we need to find tools to fix it. I am so tired of going to these entrepreneur networking things where people are like, yeah, for 5 years, I slept 4 hours and I was so miserable. And I'm like, well, maybe you would have achieved your goals if you didn't do that as well. Because when I listen to that, my inner bad voice says, see, you're not working enough. If you don't reach your goals, it's kind of, you're bad, you deserve it because you're sleeping 8 hours. And that is because I always have this voice in my head when I rest that is like, other people are not resting and you are not as strong as them. No, we need sleep. It's not like a choice. We do need it. And if we're not sleeping, something's bad is going to happen. And maybe we won't even notice it because we're so tired. Like, we cannot choose to eat or not eat. You know, maybe you finally find the perfect balance of spending time with your kids if you have kids. And then you realize that you really wanted to work out and you really wanted to be active. But wait, now that I just found my balance, now I have to go and stress myself out so that I can fit this one more thing in my schedule. We're constantly feeling sorry for ourselves that we can't do everything, that we're not doing enough. But this self-pity is just ridiculous because we cannot buy more time in our day. We do not decide if we have more hours. We do not decide if we're energetic. We can, drink a bit of caffeine, but like it is not in our power. So why are we constantly guilting ourselves? We don't finish something in a day because we literally couldn't, because we didn't have time to. And that doesn't mean that it was like midnight, we needed to go to bed, we couldn't do it. Maybe it was 7 p.m., we wanted to get off of work, it's our boundary, so we couldn't. And it's okay to say that we couldn't. I used to feel so guilty saying that I couldn't do this because I technically could, because I had hours in my day, and maybe I could have eaten dinner while I was working. No. Doing your best does not mean that you're actually like pushing yourself super thin. Doing your best means that you have your rules, your hours, your life that is not just about work. And if you can't do it, it doesn't mean that, yeah, you literally didn't have the time to do it. But it means that, work's off today. I couldn't do it. Oops. No one's gonna die. Unless you work at an emergency in a hospital, no one's gonna die. And also, I love the conversation around the fact that, yes, it is the fact that life is limited and that we cannot do everything, be with everyone, that makes our choices valuable. I haven't met every single guy in the world to know that my partner is like the best possible partner in the world, but I have chosen to be with him because I love him. And even knowing that, I still choose him every day. And that also gives it meaning. And the fact that we know we can't do everything in this life, and we choose certain goals and certain priorities, gives more meaning to those priorities. Now, I do my to-do lists every week so diligently. I still mess up, but I really think about how much I can do in a day. While before it was like, how much do I want to do? This, okay, great. Day ends, I didn't do half of it, and I'm like, okay, I suck. No, think about what you actually can do. Because also, the more you believe that you can fit everything into your schedule, the more things you will accept, and the more rush you will do them, the less quality they will have, the more stressed you will become. Anyways, I'm out of battery. He talks about how our patience is just a way of accommodating psychologically to the lack of power. We know deep down that we don't have the power to change these limitations, and so our response is just to be patient and try to do everything, but that is just a fake band-aid. So after watching this video, I challenge you to, in your day-to-day, keep thinking about the finite nature of life. Be intentional with your time, limit your commitments. I will see you soon, I hope. Bye!